Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday evening, May 1st, and the second session in the first quarter market report for the Atlantic County Coastal Region. I'm Anthony Delicandro with Dwell Real Estate, and in the first edition last week that I did, I shared exactly what was happening on a broad level throughout Atlantic County in general. And I shared, if you were able to share some time with us last week, I shared that the number of total transactions was down for the second consecutive quarter. First in the fourth quarter of 2018, and now in the first quarter of 2019. The number of total transactions down for the second consecutive quarter in several years. In the first quarter, they were down 13% year over year. And at the same time, we also had prices continue to rise. Median sales price for Atlantic County was actually up over 12% year over year. That's the 8th consecutive quarter of price appreciation. So a little bit of an interesting dynamic that we're experiencing here in Atlantic County. I shared a little bit last week that a lot of the reasoning behind the slowdown that occurred in the beginning of fall and then carried into the number of closed transactions that occurred in the first quarter was very much a part of a combination of the lowest inventory that we've realistically seen historically. And in addition, we're now on, as I mentioned, the 8th consecutive quarter of positive appreciation. And we also had experienced an increase in overall mortgage interest rates in the fourth quarter as well, which combined basically in just a little bit of affordability or sticker shock, if you will. Right now, interest rates currently are just about a full percentage point from their peak in November of 2018. So we're experiencing a little bit more momentum, and I expect to see a stronger second quarter than what we saw in the first quarter or the fourth quarter of last year. And what I wanted to do is dive deeper into this for a few minutes in this particular video, and share what's happening individually in the towns and communities that we serve. So again, those numbers I shared earlier were the broad market. Now, as we see on this screen, as I share my screen, we've got each individual town, and I've them broken down between the mainland area towns and communities, and then also the seashore towns and communities. So just to take a real quick glance, what we can see is that similar to the broad spectrum, when we look at the number of sales in 2018 versus 2019, both first quarters, and we see the percentage change, we can see that just about every single town in the offshore communities and in the onshore communities, with the exception of a couple, were basically down year over year in terms of number of closed transactions. And the same thing, when we look at median sales price, most of the sales prices were actually up year over year. Same thing in the seashore communities. Hence resulting in what we've experienced with the percentage change that we saw in the broad market, right? Overall averages were number of total transactions down 13%, prices up 12%. When we look deeper into what does this really mean, what's the rest of the markets and direction that we're headed in as we move deeper into 2019 and ultimately into 2020. A lot of those answers are going to be found in the next video that I will do, and I'm sharing the screen here. It's our absorption report where we dive deep into looking specifically at what's happening in terms of supply and demand in each individual town and the community. And then we also go a step deeper and we segment it based upon price points, because we know if you've been a buyer or seller, or you know anyone that's been a buyer or seller here in southern New Jersey, and realistically most of the country for that matter, right, then you know that you're experiencing two totally different stories. Very, very high demand and very much a seller's market at entry level. And then the opposite, as you move up, the market tends to be a little bit more balanced in that move up price point. And then when you move into premium or luxury, it's the opposite. We have higher inventories, less demand, and more of a buyer's market. So that's what we're experiencing. I'll dive deeper into that in the absorption report. Any questions that you have, I would be absolutely excited to be able to provide you or your family with the right answers and the right information to help you make the right decision for you guys now in 2019. Please direct any inquiries to via direct message, or if you happen to know any one of our amazing agents, I'm proud to say that I think we have the most knowledgeable overall group and the most capable of delivering the right advice in what's a very sensitive time in the real estate space. So any questions, we look forward to answering them. Have a super powerful evening, and I look forward to bringing you the last segments on absorption next week. Thanks. Have a great night.